Greetings, ethnic slurs. I'm Who Gives a Shit, and today I'm going to show you how to be an absolute cuck and 3-shot people in PvP with elemental shots while simultaneously getting living weapon every other second. Now obviously such a cuckoldy build has absolutely nothing to do with gear, because that would just make sense. I put on some infinite Onmyo shit, but I really should just get increased Onmyo damage shots inherited on every piece of gear I own. But infinite Onmyo does help, and you can roll it on pretty much everything but boots and pants unless I'm mistaken. And then you got the Yazakani down there because you're pretty much a scrub if you don't. And then if you feel like being an analytical piece of shit, there are all my quick bars down there, but I'm going to explain that shit to you anyway in a minute. So it's very important for this build that you have 99 magic and that you also have Hinazumi as your primary guardian spirit. You want that extra unlimited Onmyo and that Amrita gauge A+. What this means for those of you who don't speak the American grading system for some reason, A+ is the best. And in this case means you go into living weapon faster. Now the whole fucking crux of this working is the extraction talisman. Basically, when you hit people with anything, they shoot Amrita out they butt like they're a yokai with no ki. And this seems to be the most pronounced when you hit things with elemental shots. What you're also going to want, more of a PvE thing than a PvP thing, but useful nonetheless, are Shadow Round Talismans. These basically add an unlimited effect chance to your ranged anythings. It doesn't sound like it would apply to elemental shots, but it fucking does, so rejoice. Now I've got fire, water, wind, and lightning, because Earth is lame. Lightning really should have had its own element in Avatar: The Last Airbender. But yeah, anyway, these things have gotten buffed with the DLC and are now fan-fucking-tastic for applying status effects and great for damage that pierces guards. Now, like I said before, you're going to want to have as much magic as humanly possible, which for now is 99. But I mean, don't be a dumbass, give yourself at least 25 spirit and maybe some dexterity and stamina so you can use quick change scrolls and wear armor without undergoing the crippling effects of diabetes. Now, I'm going to show you how this goes down. It's buffing time. First, quick change scroll because you're a goddamn scrub and you should kill yourself if you don't incorporate these in every character build you do because there's no reason not to. And then the extraction talisman and the Shadow Round talisman. Very important for PvP is that you have both the Onmyo and Ninjutsu mystic art that makes it so that you cast effects on yourself instantaneously. The Crimson Tryhard has volunteered to be our dummy for the evening, so let's shoot him in the face. Now notice that it takes a moment to get the Amrita, but once I have it, it only takes 2 shots for me to get living weapon, which is fucking ridiculous. Now in PvP, I've noticed that it only takes 1 shot to charge living weapon on occasion, which is borderline OP, but I'm not complaining. And the game gives 0 fucks if they block, as long as you're dealing damage, which shots do through guard. Now as you can see, you can keep living weapon up for a long time by just shooting someone in the face repeatedly. So if someone runs away from you in PvP when you trigger living weapon, you can just fucking shoot them in their goddamn coward back. Now in PvE, you're going to want to remember to switch elements every shot or two, so you can apply Confused, Discord, I can't remember. Maybe a bewildered, bemused, puzzled, perplexed, baffled, mystified, or nonplussed. Nonplussed. Surprised and confused so much that they are unsure how to react. Fucking perfect. Just make sure you apply at least 2 of your elemental status effects to something. I'll show you later, it makes yokai bosses a fucking joke, because they are unable to have any ki while under the nonplussed effect. Another thing to remember is if your living weapon ends, you're going to need an extra shot to get Amrita to take you out of the spirit recharge period thingy. So it'll take 2 instead of 1 in PvP and 3 instead of 2 in PvE. That is basically how it works. I've been fine doing just this in PvE and PvP, but you're free to use whatever combination of gear you think is best. Experiment, use what you like. Justice Ministry for extra Amrita gauge sounds fantastic. You may be able to get a 1 to 2 shot only thing for full living weapon going all the time. But for now, I'll just show you how I performed with the build in PvP and PvE. I will get a little commentary in here. As you can see, it only took 1 shot to get full living weapon, and as people will not be expecting it, you can often get a free round on surprise factor and become a huge melee threat quite suddenly. People will then typically get a lot more careful since they know what your game is, but typically that will involve guarding and dodging, and guarding does barely any good as you still get full living weapon credit. And while it's easy to dodge from a distance, it becomes a whole nother story when you close distance quickly and give them another shot. And if they decide to run away and let your living weapon run out, you can easily keep pace and shoot them in the back. That's how a typical 1v1 for me is right now. Ninjutsu is slightly faster than your shots, so it can be a little bit tricky to fight ninjas, but otherwise you shouldn't have any trouble fighting just normal melee people. Just keep your distance. Here's a 2v2 match in which I kind of tried to play it like a support and just sort of stand back and do shots and then come in with living weapon if I needed to save the day or finish someone off. It works splendidly. Rarely does anyone ever pay enough attention to actually dodge your shots, which is giving you more living weapon or extending a living weapon that's already out. Having living weapon up all the time can be kind of useful as a shield of sorts, a buffer to keep you from getting one-shot by super pieces of shit that farm way too much. Oh, and if you look at the screen now, you'll get to see one of the super rare perfect high fives. Oh yeah, instant replay that, please. As for PvE, as I said, you're going to want to try to get the nonplussed status effect on everything. As you'll see here, they do become so confused that they simply cannot figure out what to do. You can stagger lock bosses in infinite loops with shots. This is Way of the Demon, and it's a joke. It's a very convenient setup, and it only requires about level 100-ish to take full advantage of. It gives you something to do with your own meal points, and I'd love to see anyone integrate it into their builds. The footage here is taken from my stream, where I help people run through the game or farm hard to get stuff on the weekends. Link is in the description if you have any questions about any sort of builds or you simply need help getting through anything. Just visit the stream, that's what I'm there for. I hope you have fun in Neo, and please don't actually kill yourself.